Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, Senator Scott. Good to see you. The Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation will come to order. Twice a year, we find ourselves adjusting our clocks, shifting an hour of daylight forward in the spring, springing forward, and falling back in the fall. For many Americans, this biannual ritual is a minor inconvenience, something we endure without giving it much thought. But when we take a closer look at the implications of changing the clocks, its impact on our economy, our health, and our everyday lives, we can see that this practice is more than an annoyance. First, let's talk about energy savings, which has long been the most common justification for daylight savings time. The original idea behind daylight savings time was to reduce energy consumption by making better use of daylight during the longer days of summer. The idea was simple. Fewer hours of darkness meant less electricity consumption for lighting and heating. This concept might have made sense in the early 20th century, when our economy and our homes relied much more heavily on energy consumption tied to daylight hours. Today, the data show energy savings from daylight savings time are de minimis, if not entirely non-existent. Advances in technology, particularly in lighting and climate control, and increased domestic energy production have drastically reduced the relative price of energy compared to the past. Changing clocks biannually impacts our health. Research has shown that the abrupt shift in time, especially the spring transition when we lose an hour of sleep, disrupts our internal circadian rhythms and causes sleep deprivation. This leads to increased risks of health problems, including higher rates of heart attacks, strokes, and even car accidents immediately following the time change. In fact, studies have shown that there is a spike in workplace injuries and fatal car crashes during the days after we shift our clocks forward. The disruption to sleep patterns and the resultant fatigue can have consequences on our productivity, mental health, and well-being. The time change is also an inconvenience for families. For parents, especially those with young children, adjusting to the time change is no simple task. Sleep disruptions can result in cranky children, restless nights, and a difficult adjustment period that can last for weeks. We also need to consider the economic and social impact. There are arguments that longer daylight hours in the evening can boost economic activity in certain sectors, such as retail, tourism, and entertainment. For instance, late afternoon golf leagues account for up to 40% of the annual revenue of some courses, while a majority of golf instructors reported that nearly 50% of their lessons are taught after 4 p.m. A golf course would lose an estimated $500,000 annually if it lost the extra hour of daylight in the summer. Of course, the early birds who like 7 a.m. tee times might be a bit annoyed with this shift. Many states and countries like Mexico and Russia and Turkey have already taken steps to move away from changing clocks twice a year. Hawaii and Arizona have opted out of the practice, and other countries in the past 10 years have either abolished it or are in the process of doing so. Congress has the authority to end this outdated and harmful practice. This hearing is an excellent opportunity to examine a thoughtful and rational approach to how we manage time. Whether we lock the clock on standard time year-round or on daylight savings time, let's think carefully about our health, our economy, and well-being, and embrace a sensible approach to time management.